Hi there, my name is Gray and welcome back to Gray's Gardening. This is my channel where I show you everything I'm doing throughout the growing season at both my allotment and my home garden. So today's video is all about what seeds I'm going to be sowing in the month of February. It's cold outside, it's still winter in the UK, but if you're like me, you'll be itching to get started. We really want to get cracking. We want to start planting our seeds in now to stagger throughout the whole growing season, making sure that we don't get a glut of crops all in one go. So this just helps to stagger them out. I did a video last month of what I sowed in January, and now we're moving on to February. As I say, it just helps to prolong the growing season that little bit further. So I've got a lot of things out in front of me. Just want to show you what's here and give you a quick demonstration on how I actually sow each of my seeds, and I'll go through which ones I'm going to be planting and seed sowing in the month of February. Okay, we've got three main techniques here to how to grow your seeds. Some obviously are more favourable to the crop itself, and some of them are just basically personal preference. For each of the different techniques, I've already put the cutting compost in. So I've gone for the Grow Sure peat-free seed and cutting compost. This is the kind of stuff you need when sowing your seeds. And the reason you don't use multi-purpose compost is basically because it's low in nutrients, preventing seedlings from becoming overwhelmed with excessive nutrients and wanting to stay in their pots. Good drainage. Most of it is sterile, so the compost has been sterilized, meaning there'll be less fungi and weeds to grow in there. It's lightweight and non-clumpy, and often has some added rooting hormones just to help those seeds start to germinate and root, give them a nice strong rooting system. Okay, so we've got the actual individual plug trays. I've got the one big tray, which has got about an inch thick worth of cutting compost. And then we've got the individual pots. As I say, some of this is just personal preference. Others just makes it a lot easier once the seeds have started to germinate. So a tray like this is really good for onions and leeks, that kind of thing, where you're going to grow an awful lot. There's going to be a lot of seeds in there. And then what you do is, as they start to germinate, you prick them out one by one, and then you move them onto the bigger pots. So they're in an individual pot. I personally like the individual plug trays. This really helps because each seed itself will germinate within its own little compartment. You can see the roots start to grow, so you'll know exactly when it's either too root bound or not enough. And then you just pop them out, and you again move them to the bigger pots when you put them into multi-purpose compost. And then these, same kind of idea, but they're already in the big pot. The only problem is there's a lot of this seed and cutting compost in here, meaning that there's not much nutrients, and the plant itself potentially only wants to go so big before you move it on for nutrient-rich multi-purpose compost specific to that individual plant. The technique I use for planting pretty much all of my seeds is literally make a little hole about 1 to 2 centimeters deep. Take your seed, and I've got some, this is just for demonstration purposes, but these are some pumpkin seeds. Pop that seed into the hole. Firm it down a little bit, and then you just cover over with the compost. Firm it down, and then water on top. And that is pretty much how I grow all my seeds, 1 to 2 centimeters deep, firm them down and water well. Okay, so after you've sown your seeds, now use some plastic clear cloches and place these on top of the seed trays. This has lots of added extra benefits. First of all, it creates a mini greenhouse effect, trapping the heat and moisture, creating a warm and humid environment that encourages quicker germination. Protects against temperature fluctuations, reduces moisture loss, and prevents any soil disturbance. So really handy to get some of these. Keep them somewhere warm and dry in a nice bright shelter position, and they'll germinate usually within a couple of weeks. Okay, let's get straight into this now. Exactly what I'm now going to be sowing in the month of February. I've selected these seeds because they're perfect for actually getting sowed now in the month of February. As I say, just to help prolong our growing season or get started nice and early. So the first item, this one is going to be this is actually going to be our tumbling tomatoes. Now, you may think growing your tomatoes is a bit too early, and it is for most of the time, but I'm just going to do a couple of these, maybe 2 or 3, just so I can get that first crop going. This is the tumbling red tom, and they don't grow too big, which is why I'm doing these ones early. They're quite a bushy tomato plant with lots of mini tomatoes, like your cherry tomatoes, all coming out the side of the plant. So I'm just going to do a couple of these, get these started early. Be careful with your tomatoes. Depending on the plant, the variety, they can go really quite big very, very quickly. And if you're sowing them in February, you've got to wait till about May. May in the UK is about the time the last frost has passed. My rule of thumb is the second week in May. That's when I plant everything goes outside, goes into the greenhouse, goes into the raised beds in the second week of May, usually because that last frost has then passed. But yeah, I'm going to do a couple of tumbling red tom tomatoes just to get some going. Next, I've got the Brussels sprout. This is the Evesham Special, and it says it's large, old-fashioned flavour sprouts, and you can start sowing these indoors from February. So these are absolutely ideal. Heavy, early crops over several months, medium-sized plants, ideal for exposed sites, and a good source of vitamin C and folate. So they should be quite easy to get going. I can tell they are very small seeds. So did some sprouts last year. Sadly, the caterpillars ate them all, so I want to try again on them. So we'll get going with the Brussels sprout in February. Next is my marigold. These are the French orange boy. Now, these are great to go around your plant, especially in your greenhouse. They are believed to, or supposed to, keep pests away and stop other diseases from getting into your greenhouse and infecting your plants. So it says sow indoors in February, ideal, and they usually appear between 2 to 3 weeks. I always do great with my marigolds. Last year, they grew absolutely huge, many flowers. So that's the type I used. It was the French orange boy marigold, which I'll be doing once again. Plenty of seeds left in there. And I also saved some seeds from the marigold plants that I grew last year. So when I get to do those ones down at the allotment, I'll show you exactly how they turned out. Now we've got the cucumbers. This is Telegraph Improved. These are long cucumbers for a cool greenhouse or frame, and you should sow them between February and May if to expect those cucumbers are from July onwards. So again, getting ahead of the game with these so we can get some early cucumbers. I'm going to be picking these quite early because I really started liking the mini cucumbers. I'll be growing them separately as well, but I think instead of letting them go too long and too big, sometimes the skin goes a little bit tough. So I'll be picking them quite early. This is good crops for traditional flavour, long dark fruits, ideal for a greenhouse or cold frame, and a good source of vitamin C and vitamin A. So grew them last year, really good. We got about 2 dozen from each plant. So I'll be doing these ones exactly the same again. Okay, the next 3 are ones that I did also sow in January, but as I say, I'm just trying to stagger the growing. So we've got the January ones, which haven't germinated yet. Now we're going to do February, and hopefully that'll help me get a crop that lasts a bit longer instead of that glut of getting everything all at once. So first off is going to be the hot cayenne peppers or chili peppers. And these again say it's you can sow them between February and April. Productive variety which can be eaten green or red. Then they start off green, and if you leave them on the plant long enough, they then go red. Hot and spicy, long thin peppers that can grow up to approximately 10 centimeters in length. Turn from a milder green to hot peppery flavored red. Peppers do take a long time to germinate, hence why I'm getting ahead of the game. And that's exactly why I'm going to do the multicolored peppers, the bigger peppers, not the spicy ones, the sweet ones, the larger peppers. And these are lots of different colors. It's called Sweet Color Spectrum to add amazing color to your meals. Sow these between February and April. A strong mixture of tasty, sweet, thick-walled, bell-shaped peppers and a whole spectrum of colors creates real interest in all sorts of dishes. So I can't wait to get growing them. I haven't grown peppers for a number of years, so this is something I really want to get going with now. And then finally, onions. onions are going to go in. These are the Bedfordshire Champion, high-yielding solid globe onions, which store very, very well. A popular variety, high yields of globe-shaped onions with good mild flavour and clean white fresh. An excellent variety for storing. So the Bedfordshire Champion. Again, that's probably more suited for our bigger tray, and some of the others I'll be doing in the individual pots just because it helps transplant them onto the next growing stage a lot easier. Don't forget to mark them after you've sown your seeds. It is really, really important that you get some markers and mark each one. It is so easy. Everybody does it. You forget what you've put where, and then you've got to wait normally to the end, or at least the plant is so high into the May, June, July time before you even know what it is. So remember to mark them, get your plant labels. And I've bought these permanent garden markers. So these are actually designed specially for plant labels. And the main reason being is because these pens are waterproof, they dry instantly, and they're light, and most importantly, they're light resistant to UV light, which is really ideal because especially in the summer, you've got the sun glaring down on these plant labels and it bleaches them. You've done everything you possibly can to try and mark your plants so you know what they are, and the sun comes along and bleaches it. So these pens are ideal. This is actually a pack of 2 that I managed to get from Amazon, only £5. I'll put the link to these in the comment section below and also in the description. This will be my Amazon affiliate link. So if you buy any of these following that link or anything from Amazon, I'll get a few pennies towards my site to help support me and the channel. So if you want to, that's 2 permanent garden markers, £5 on Amazon. Really, really recommend these. Okay, hope you've enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative and given you a few ideas, and also that little reminder of what to grow and what to be getting up to now on your gardening journey. If you like this kind of thing, if you like gardening tips, tricks and hacks, then please consider subscribing. Massive thank you to everyone who subscribed so far. But if you're new here, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, if you haven't hit the like button, please do that now. It helps circulate this video to as many people as possible. If you think any of your friends will benefit from this kind of thing, please share the video also to them. It just really, really helps the channel to grow and become successful. So thanks all for watching. As always, take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye now.